Welcome to the CMO Spotlight, and I'm here today with Cliff Chiet, who is the Chief Integrated Marketing Director for iHeartMedia.
I think in retrospect, I try to emphasize the importance of listening as much as talking. And sometimes people get so focused on what they're going to say that they're not listening to what the person's saying. And I actually feel the best gift that you can give any individual is your attention. It's easier to align yourself with somebody when you make that connection. And you can't make that connection if you're not absorbing what they're sharing. So I try to make sure that people know it. The other piece of advice I give anyone is don't wait for a job to be created, create the job. As people are looking for jobs, I'm telling them, don't wait for them to come to you, you go to them. If you position yourself as an asset, then that's attractive. But again, I think the big mistake a lot of people make is they don't know how to sell themselves. You know, they're good at selling other things, but when it really comes to packaging themselves and why somebody should have them as an asset to their company, I try to get them to create their own commercial. From a very young age, I really became pretty good at working a room and being able to meet everybody in the room and start conversations and build relationships. And I think part of what comes from that is that, you know, once you make that contact is to follow up and to actually build a relationship and try to build a sustainable relationship. So it's not like there are people that go to network and they get a stack of business cards and they never do anything with it. You need to have that 1-2, you know, meeting somebody, then I'm going to follow up because probably 9 out of 10 people won't. And I don't want to be that guy. So, so I'll always try to make it an effort to make sure that I thank the person and that I can make something out of the conversation. It's about having intellectual honesty, you know, and not beat yourself up so much. And sometimes the best inspiration you can find is within yourself. And I think it's okay to know that you didn't do something the way you probably would have. And then what can you take away from that to improve yourself? So for me, it's being kind to myself and realizing that not every day is going to be, you know, like the best version of myself. And also, you know, not to take rejection as, or if somebody doesn't get back to you as this person's not interested, but just to understand, put that other shoe, you know, their shoe on your foot and say, you know, I'm busy too. How much time do I really have to have conversations? And look, we all have dark days. We realize, you know, am I still good at this and what have you? But, you know, that validation has to start with you because, you know, you can wait a long time waiting for somebody else to tell you, hey, you're good at this. It's respect. You know, it goes back to listening. It was really that idea of valuing another person's time and showing them the due respect they deserve. And how would you want to be treated? You know, when you talk, do you want everybody looking at the sky, at the grass, whatever? Do you want people to pay attention to you? And no matter if you're working with a company or playing kids soccer on a field, you know, I think the same rules apply as just, you know, having that respect. It's an example of success. There is a university that just has a Buick image. They've been around forever, and they wanted to shed that image and become a lot more appealing and innovative. What we did is we used the power of influence with personalities that had great relationships with their listeners. And we used data-driven tools. And kind of like the message was like, rock your career. If you don't like what you're doing right now, if this is not what you think is why you're on this earth, you can change that. You don't have to live the rest of your life, you know, doing a job that you're not passionate about. And sometimes it means taking a few steps back and learning a different craft. I felt like a lot of pressure for this particular campaign because of the fact that we had, you know, a dean from a business school putting himself on the line. He was going against the grain of what the agency had, what the university had traditionally done. The end result was that they signed on like 150 brand new students at $40,000 a clip. And I mean, they had an 18-time return on their investment. And now they're talking about tripling their budget, you know, for next year. So to me, what I learned is to trust my instincts, my guts, bring my team together and really put our best resources and also have the best measurement of the results so we could keep track on what was happening. But what was really cool about it is the client did their own data analysis, because we could show them how many impressions, we could show them how many click-throughs, but at the end of the day, what we didn't have was who signed up to be a student. So because of that relationship and because of their transparency, they were able to get 3 times the budget for next year in order to do this campaign. So I guess for me, it was more about knowing that we made a difference, that we really, we didn't just take their money and it didn't work. We pivoted along the way, and we adjusted things. When that happens and there's that kind of harmony, it's inevitable that it's going to be successful. John F. Kennedy, and it's we need men who can dream of things that never were. And I think that's what makes the world go around, is that you have to have these dreamers, and you have to have these people that see things that aren't obvious to everybody else. And there always has to be enough of that going on. And no matter what people say to bring them down, those dreamers are the ones that help us move forward.